I'm not sure that he should get away from Bain. He's running a campaign in which he has the opportunity to say, this is capitalism. Perhaps the president doesn't realize this, but America still believes in capitalism. Maybe I should explain capitalism to the president of the United States. Maybe that's why we're in such bad economic shape.
To really own it, play offense. Welcome to NewsBeast. Happy Monday. We've got Justine and Peter Boyer in the house. You've got a great new story in Newsweek about the apparent dissing of Sarah Palin by the Romney camp with regard to the convention, and the Tea Party ain't pleased about it.
No, they're not. Listen, I was just curious whether or not the last vice presidential nominee was going to be at the convention. I assumed, because the Tea Party base is not famously enthusiastic about Mitt, that he would have given her some role, or she'd at least show up. She sent me an email saying, no, not only have I not been asked to speak, I haven't been invited to the convention, which surprised me.
Considering that she was the barn burner of the convention, the other convention in Minnesota, for better or for worse.
Yeah, you know, looking back, I do believe that was sort of the high water mark in terms of partisan enthusiasm for the McCain camp.
Oh, she can throw the red meat. Justine, I mean, what's fascinating to me is that Sarah Palin's off. She's sort of like a bad rumor on the part of the Romney camp, certainly. They want to pretend like all that enthusiasm never happened. So this story kind of comes from left field. It's the thing that they don't want to talk about, that no one's talking about. What was the process of you deciding to put it in the magazine?
Well, it wasn't really a process of my deciding, because Peter came with what was a good scoop, and so there's no question but to run that kind of story. And I think that we're seeing here, with even the coverage it's getting on the internet already today, on the web, that people still care very much about Sarah Palin. And so one wonders, what would it cost the Romney campaign really to have invited her to the dance, as it were? And why would they choose not to?
And there's still time. I mean, the fascinating thing will be, does a story like this force their hand?
You know, it might. I mean, I think they've had a rough couple of weeks, the Romney camp, and I think given a choice of having their base soar at them or indifferent or excited, it seems to me like excited would be one of the choices they would at least consider, although I have to say there's not much evidence of that so far.
No, and I think from like a North End Romney campaign headquarters, I mean, Sarah Palin excites the base, but she is kryptonite to swing voters. Fascinating, even among establishment Republicans, she's this sort of, you know, this
even among, I mean, especially among, it is just, actually, I had a very crude saying from South Mississippi I was going to employ, but,
no, please do.
But I better not. No.
This is web TV. You can say whatever you want.
There is a when she walks into a room of establishment Republicans, it's as if the windows opened into a bad odor outside. Let's put it that way. And it's.
I'm guessing that was a dog metaphor originally in Mississippi. Is that
right? It had to do with a bear, but
bear, whatever.
Bear, dog. They all answer nature's call.
Yes, they do. Other fascinating thing about this, because the story isn't just about Palin feeling dissed, but the Tea Party trying to summon enthusiasm for Romney, these meetings in D.C. where the activists get together and to figure out if he can cross a threshold other than not Obama. There's one statement where they say in a meeting you recall where they call him the Dark Star, and I was trying to figure out if that was a dead reference or they meant Death Star.
No, it might have been both, though. There's some hip Tea Party folks. No.
There are.
No, they were astonished that Romney so effectively sort of moved like this hovering entity that just zapped, you know, without ever, you know, sort of breaking a sweat, that one by one zapped his right-wing opponents in the Republican primary process. A lot of them were cheering for those individuals one at a time who were being toppled by the Romney machine. And now they're a little bit perplexed as to how he is apparently incapable of standing up to the Chicago machine. I will say that the Chicago boys play a game that's on a whole different level from the Romney team, at least as evidence so far, don't you think?
Yeah, well, I mean, they are now out on the attack, full force. And I guess the question is, do you think that Romney can ever get away from Bain? We hear Bain, and more Bain.
Yeah, I think he can, whether or not he effectively will. I mean, let's put it another way. I'm not sure that he should get away from Bain. He's running a campaign in which he has the opportunity to say, this is capitalism. Perhaps the president doesn't realize this, but America still believes in capitalism. Maybe I should explain capitalism to the president of the United States. maybe that's why we're in such bad economic shape.
To really own it, play offense.
You know, I mean,
Yeah.
but it doesn't, I guess, occur to him, or maybe he doesn't have it in him, or to his boys and girls who are working for him.
Well, I think middle-class swing voters in the Rust Belt. I think look at Bain, and this does seem like the other. So I think the only answer is to play
Yes.
offense.
Well, and I think they don't understand it. They just hear that it seems dark and bad and evil, and so therefore Romney must be.
And the president's folks,
also.
you're right. I mean, part of the reason for that is the president's folks mention felony. I mean, you have to admire that. That's just, I mean, it was so audacious. And they mentioned felony, and Romney's just going humming. He should say he's sorry, you know. And I don't know.
I will say that may be the first Eddie Murphy doing the Honeymooners reference we've heard on the NewsBeast set. Justine, final word.
Oh, Sadie Hawkins.
Good.
Terror.
Terror.
Well, what happens if Sarah actually does show up at the convention?
Death Star. That's all for us for NewsBeast. That was fun, guys. Great story.
It was.
New
Thank
issue
you.
of Newsweek.
Thank you.